Be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted.
No black, mulatto, or Indian shall be allowed to give evidence in favor of or against a white man.
Says we hope the government will wither such aid that would enable the citizens of the North. Understand, when California became a state, it gave this right to the California government gave money for the slaughtering and killing of Redskins, right? People that look like. So when you see these California laws and statutes against Indians and blacks, understand when you look at these paintings here from 1816, 1815, these are, you see here in 1852 when California establishes in San Francisco, San Quentin as a prison, we see that the laws in California. So what you got to understand, when the Spanish came and established California, understand how they took the land from the Aboriginal populations here in America. They criminalized it.
People all over the world, and until the leaders of Black America.
I'm a new breed of black man, like the nation is. Hey, I'm gonna tell you how we'll.
You need that job because your husband is home in the bed waiting for you to bring the money home to him.
Let me tell you something, and I'll tell you why you say we hate white people. We don't hate anybody. If I hated you, is it justified?
Robbed you. Your name, your
Mass incarceration means that we've got a very high rate of incarceration historically, comparatively, and the other thing is the rate of incarceration is so high, so socially concentrated, that we're no longer incarcerating the individual, but we're incarcerating whole social groups. The rate of incarceration now is about 5 times higher than it was historically. Historically it was 100 per 100,000, now it's about 500 per 100,000. If we look at prison, if we add jail to that, it's about 700 per 100,000. Nowhere in the world incarcerates as much as we do. We've seen extremely high rates of exposure to the criminal justice system for African American men with very low levels of schooling. So if we think about black men who were born in the late 1970s and who are growing up through the American prison boom of the 1980s and the 1990s, the chances that they're going to serve time in the late 1970s and who are growing up through the American prison boom of the 1980s and the 1990s, the chances that they're going to serve time in state or federal prison if they dropped out of high school is about 70%. So going to prison for that group of black men with very low levels of schooling, that's become a normal life event. And that's really only happened in the last 10 years. We're at this point now where there's about 1.2 million African American children with a parent who's incarcerated. And that's about 1 in 9. The research shows the kids who experience parental incarceration have diminished school achievement, they have behavioural problems, depressive symptoms, acting out, and there's also evidence that these kinds of negative effects associated with parental incarceration are concentrated more among boys than among girls. And there's a very real risk here that are concentrated more among boys than among girls. And there's a very real risk here that incarceration becomes an inherited trait. The underlying issue is we've chosen prison as a way to respond to that problem of crime. And there are a whole variety of ways that we could have chosen to respond to that problem of crime. We've chosen the response of the deprivation of liberty, and we've chosen the response of the deprivation of liberty for a historically aggrieved group whose liberty in the United States was never firmly established to begin with.
California came into a time where slavery was being abolished, so you see this new form of slavery through the prison systems, because now you see the slave codes making it illegal to be black, and also to testify, Dred Scott case, the People versus Hall in California's case. When you look at the California law that no black, Indian, or mulatto was able to testify on the behalf or against a white person, and you look at California's oldest prison, San Quentin, which housed Quentin, which was an Aboriginal who resisted against the... So San Quentin is actually named after an Aboriginal. He was the Miwok Indian who was in Petaluma in the 1820s. He resisted against the Spanish mission. He was captured and transported to work at the Mission Dolores for 2 years and released to custody in General Vallejo. So in case you're wondering what Quentin or what San Quentin of the Miwok and what some of the Indians during the time that would have been in prison in San Quentin, right, during that time, what they would have looked like, here's an image being drawn. So since California could not become a slave state, what you see is here in 1852, California established a state prison, and California forms its laws where Negroes could not testify against whites, which would lead to here in Psalms 83:3, where it says, hidden ones, that's Hebrew number 6845. That hide. And you understand the land of the north and the hidden ones in Ame, America, Amen, the hidden, right? Powers, black magic. Psalms 83 where it says hidden, it says to hide, covering, implication, hoard, or reserve, the lurk. Understand during the time of the Dark Ages, after the fall of the Romans, right? That millennium until Christopher Columbus, 1492, who the hidden ones were. It should no more be said, the Lord liveth, which delivered us from the land of Egypt, but the Lord liveth that brought the children of Israel out the land of the north. So we're going to look at this land of the north. This north is Hebrew number 6828. So understand when you look at the hidden ones as talking about in Psalms 83, it says they have consulted against thy hidden ones, that the name of Israel be no more longer in remembrance. The hidden ones, hidden, the land of the north, that is dark, gloomy, right? So understand, man, niggas don't...
Take my swag on these shows, so I pour some Henny in my cup, turn the music up. Quick to tell I had to make some paper, get some loot with her. Baby Pete the vision, money mission looking major. Lace it with a little bit of flavor, now she choosing none. They say you study long, then you study wrong. If you ain't choosing more, don't choose it all. What a real who can make the calls, baby break them all. Catch me out and we finna ball. Turn it out, let the beat down. Cold business, no Christmas, we gon' shake shop. Go hard and pin blocks, cause I need guap. But down mirror with that chicken, baby, please, it's time, please. If you knew better, you do better. You should open your eyes so you can choose better. Put it on for the squad, got the crew better. Quit hating and it might make you better.
Man, understand, man. Like, we really... enforce capital punishment, man. For anybody that wrong, it came across on these lands, man. See, when they came in, when the conquerors came with this Christ, right, they demonized the sun, the real sun, right, and made it a sin. You understand? The vowels is interchangeable, son. You dig? So they made the sun a sin, a devil. Right? So they demonized you as the son, right? And instead they gave you Jesus Christ as the son, right? As the soul, right? As your soul, you sold your soul for the son, for sin, under Jesus Christ. See, you motherfuckers is under sin, right? Under Satan, right? Under sin, right? Under the sun, right? You understand Lucifer, right? The sun, the light bearer. So understand when we're talking about sin and the sun, what we're talking. So understand when they was forcing the change on the people to get them out of their culture, they're out of their way of cultivating themselves without them receiving profit, right? They wanted to get profit from our culture. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them hidden holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for prey, and none deliver, for a spoil, and none shall restore. So this is the status of the Negro in America. We have no nationality.